What if I told you that one legend believes Messi makes football smile while Ronaldo makes it tremble? Not a journalist, not a fan, but Ronaldinho, the man who played football as if it were laughter. For years he avoided the debate. He smiled. He dribbled away the question. But now Ronaldinho has finally broken his silence about Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. One makes football smile, the other forces it to be afraid. What does that really mean? Why would the happiest footballer in history describe fear as part of greatness? And more importantly, which of the two truly represents the soul of the game? Stay with me, because this confession changes how we see the Messi-Ronaldo rivalry forever. Before we begin, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because today's story is not about goals, trophies, or numbers alone. It's about how football makes you feel. To understand why Ronaldinho's words matter so much, we have to go back to who he is, and where he stands between these two giants. Ronaldinho was never obsessed with numbers. He didn't chase records. He didn't count Ballon d'Ors. He played football like a child who had just discovered joy. And yet, he is also the man who handed the number 10 shirt to a young boy named Lionel Messi, looked at him, and said, "This kid will be the best in the world." Years later, that boy is 38 years old and still doing the unthinkable. 71 goal contributions in a single season, leading every creative metric, still bending games, still slowing time, still deciding matches without raising his voice. On the other side stands Cristiano Ronaldo, a phenomenon built on pressure. Multiple seasons with nearly 60 goals, knockout games, finals, last minutes. When legs are heavy and minds are tired, he becomes louder, stronger, more dangerous. So here is the real question Ronaldinho forces us to ask. Is greatness about making football feel easy, or about making opponents feel helpless? Is it the smile that disarms you, or the fear that freezes you? This is not just a comparison of careers. It is a comparison of two emotions that define modern football. For a long time, Ronaldinho did what he always did best when uncomfortable questions arrived. He smiled, he laughed, he changed the subject with a joke or a memory. Messi or Ronaldo. He never wanted to choose. Not because he didn't have an opinion, but because deep down he believed football was never meant to be reduced to a verdict. And that is precisely why this moment matters. It didn't happen on a heated TV debate. It wasn't shouted for headlines. It came quietly during a reflective conversation about what football has become: faster, more physical, more obsessed with numbers. That's when Ronaldinho paused and said it. One makes football smile, he explained. The other makes it afraid. No names at first, no drama, just a sentence. Simple, poetic, and devastatingly clear. Then he elaborated. When he spoke about Lionel Messi, his eyes softened. He talked about calm, about control, about a player who enters the pitch and makes everyone else feel like the game is already under control, even when the score says otherwise. And when he turned to Cristiano Ronaldo, the tone changed. Not admiration lessened, but tension added. He described a player who never lets the match rest, a presence that turns every loose ball, every cross, every rebound into a threat. This wasn't praise versus criticism, it was something deeper. Ronaldinho wasn't ranking them. He was describing what it feels like to exist on the pitch with them. One changes the atmosphere by calming it, the other by electrifying it. And suddenly, the debate stopped being about statistics and became about psychology. Because ask yourself this: what is more terrifying as a defender? A player who makes everything look easy, or one who makes you feel the game will never end? When Ronaldinho says that Lionel Messi makes football smile, he is not talking about entertainment alone. He is talking about relief. Messi doesn't shout at the game. He doesn't challenge it. He absorbs it. Watch him closely. Before the goal, before the assist, before the moment everyone clips and shares, there is always that walk, that silence, that calm scan of the pitch. It feels as if nothing urgent is happening. And that is precisely the trap. Defenders step forward because they feel safe. Midfielders push higher because they feel in control. The stadium lowers its guard for half a second. Then the smile appears, and the damage is already done. This is why so many opponents describe playing against Messi as confusing rather than terrifying. There is no explosion, no warning sign, just inevitability. Statistically, it almost feels unfair. At 38 years old, he is still leading the charts in combined goals and assists, 71 direct contributions in a single season. Not by running faster, not by jumping higher, but by choosing the right moment. Ronaldinho understands this better than anyone because it mirrors his own philosophy. Football as intuition, as rhythm, as a conversation with the ball rather than a battle against it. And that's why he smiles when he talks about Messi. Because a smiling game is a game where defenders don't panic. They realize too late. So ask yourself this. Is it possible that the most dangerous player in football history is the one who never looks dangerous at all? If Lionel Messi makes football smile, then Cristiano Ronaldo does something very different. He removes its sense of safety. When Ronaldinho talks about fear, he isn't speaking about intimidation in the tunnel or shouting on the pitch. He is talking about a deeper fear, the one that creeps in when you think the job is done, you're winning, the clock is running out, your legs are burning, and yet, Ronaldo is still sprinting. This is where fear is born. Because Ronaldo doesn't calm a game, he reopens it. Every cross becomes dangerous, every rebound feels unfinished, every set piece feels like a final warning. Defenders don't relax against him, they count seconds. Historically, this is where his legend was forged. 60-goal seasons, knockout stages, finals where pressure crushes logic. When football says, "It's over," Ronaldo answers, "Not yet." Ronaldinho sees this as the opposite of joy, but not the opposite of greatness. Because fear, too, is an emotion that defines football. Messi punishes mistakes you don't even know you made. Ronaldo punishes moments of weakness you feel in your body. One controls space, the other attacks time. And that is why so many defenders describe facing Ronaldo as exhausting rather than confusing. You are never allowed to breathe, never allowed to believe. So here is the uncomfortable truth Ronaldinho hints at. Football smiles with Messi, but it survives with Ronaldo, and sometimes survival is scarier than defeat. Listening to Ronaldinho, you slowly realize something unsettling. He is not choosing a side. He is locating himself. Ronaldinho belongs to the world where football was first a game, a space of freedom, a smile before a result. That is why he understands Lionel Messi so deeply. Messi represents continuity, football as instinct, as memory, as something you feel before you calculate. When Messi plays, the game flows back to its origin. But Ronaldinho also respects what football has become, a sport of margins, of pressure, of survival. And that is where Cristiano Ronaldo stands, not as a contradiction, but as an evolution. Ronaldo is football responding to modern demands, strength, obsession, refusal to accept an ending. In Ronaldinho's words, you can sense a quiet sadness, because football no longer smiles as easily as it once did, and yet it cannot escape fear either. So when he says, one makes football smile, the other makes it afraid, he is really saying this. These two players are not rivals. They are two answers to the same question. How do you survive at the highest level for 20 years? One answers with calm, the other with force. One disarms you emotionally, the other overwhelms you physically. And Ronaldinho? He watches them both, like a man seeing his own past and football's future collide. So, maybe the Messi-Ronaldo debate was never about who is greater. Maybe it was always about how you want football to make you feel. Do you want to smile and realize too late that the game has slipped away? Or do you want to feel fear and fight until the very last second? Ronaldinho didn't give us an answer. He gave us a mirror. Now it's your turn. Which emotion defines greatness for you? Tell us in the comments. If this story made you see football differently, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still argues Messi versus Ronaldo. Because some debates never end. They just change the way we watch the game. There is one last layer in Ronaldinho's confession that often goes unnoticed. He is not only talking about the past, he is talking about what football is becoming. Because when Ronaldinho contrasts Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, he is really asking a much bigger question. What kind of football will survive the next generation? Messi represents a path that feels almost endangered. Less noise, less spectacle, more intelligence than force. A player who controls the game without dominating headlines every second, who wins without reminding you that he is winning, who bends matches not by breaking defenders, but by making them doubt their own decisions. This is why coaches still study Messi frame by frame, why young midfielders try to imitate his positioning rather than his speed, why his numbers feel unreal even when stripped of penalties or context. Messi proves that football can still be solved like a puzzle. Ronaldo, on the other hand, represents the future many clubs are already chasing. Power, athleticism, relentless repetition. He is the prototype of the modern machine, the player who adapts his body to the game instead of adapting the game to his body, a symbol of obsession, preparation, and refusal to fade. This is why Ronaldo's influence is everywhere, in training methods, in gym culture, in the way young players speak about mentality more than imagination. And here is the uncomfortable truth Ronaldinho leaves hanging in the air. Football may admire Messi, but it often rewards Ronaldo. Not because one is better, but because fear is easier to manufacture than joy. You can train fear, you can schedule fear, you can measure fear. But you cannot mass-produce a smile like Messi's. That is why this rivalry feels eternal. It is not just about two players, it is about two philosophies fighting for the soul of the sport. One whispers, the other roars. And football stands in between, unsure which voice it will follow next. This is where Ronaldinho's confession becomes almost prophetic. Because long after Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo retire, football will still be asking the same question, just with new names, new faces, new numbers. Look at the next generation. Young players grow up watching highlight clips, not full matches. They see sprinting, jumping, shouting, celebrations. They see Ronaldo's intensity more often than Messi's silence. And that matters. Because fear is easier to imitate than intelligence. You can copy Ronaldo's workouts, you can repeat his routines, you can measure his discipline. But how do you teach a child to slow time the way Messi does? How do you train intuition? How do you coach someone to see a passing lane that doesn't exist yet? This is why Ronaldinho sounds almost nostalgic when he talks about smiles, because smiles in football are becoming rare. The game is faster, the margins are thinner, the pressure is heavier. And yet, Messi's existence proves something radical, that football still rewards understanding. At 38, when the body should decline, Messi's mind has taken over completely. 71 goal contributions are not just numbers. They are proof that football intelligence ages better than muscle. Ronaldo's legacy, on the other hand, will live in obsession, in professionalism pushed to its absolute limit, in the idea that greatness is something you build, not something you discover. Two legacies, two futures. Ronaldinho doesn't tell us which one will win. He simply reminds us of what is at stake. If football chooses only fear, it risks becoming mechanical. If it chooses only smiles, it risks becoming naive. And maybe that is why Messi and Ronaldo had to exist together. Not to defeat each other, but to balance the game. So when Ronaldinho finally breaks his silence, he is not closing the Messi-Ronaldo debate. He is elevating it. He reminds us that football is not just a scoreboard, it is an emotion. Messi makes football smile because he shows us the beauty of understanding. Ronaldo makes football afraid because he shows us the power of refusal. Both are necessary. Both are unforgettable. Now the question is yours. When you fell in love with football, was it because it made you smile or because it made your heart race? Tell us in the comments. And if this story made you think differently about the greatest rivalry of all time, like the video, subscribe to the channel and share it. Because football doesn't belong to fear or joy alone. It belongs to those who still feel something when the ball moves.